Hello. One day I'm going to get better about scheduling these. And by one day, I definitely mean today because I was vlogging earlier and I definitely set a date for our March discussion. But welcome everybody who's here to discuss. This was the worst time to put on lotion, but here we are. We're here to discuss Anna K Away by Jenny Lee, the sequel to the one Anna K. I am going to say that I did give this 5 stars. It was a reread, so I stand by the 5 stars that I gave it the first time. But as I sat here thinking about this book, do I think objectively it is 5 stars? No. I do think that Miss Anna K. Away is not quite as good as Anna K. And I do think that we all could have been spared a little bit had this just been one book. Because this book is so short, it does feel a little, I don't know if I would say it feels unnecessary, but it borders unnecessary for me. But hello, welcome. Feel free to drop your guys' initial thoughts, ratings down there in the description. If you're just joining again, I still give it 5 out of 5 stars. Is it really a 5 star book? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Like objectively, it's probably closer to maybe a 3. 3 feels very low though. 4 stars. Okay. See, I like it's not quite as good. So like I fully understand this 4 star rating. I think there are definitely books I'd be like, how could we not give this a high rating? But this one, 3 stars, that's fair. Again, for me, I love Anna. I will say the actually, what is that girl's name? Lolly. The little Lolly storyline is the only storyline that I actually hated. And when I read it the first time, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But as I was listening to this book the second time, I was like, why are we even doing this? Like when we were with Beatrice and Ty, I said, this is great. When we were with Anna in South Korea, I said, this is great. But then when we went to the middle of nowhere, Michigan, and we were with Lolly, I was like, this feels weird. Like this feels like we are just trying to pad the story. And so I think if I was going to remove a star, it would be for the Lolly storyline that I did not care about. But hello. I thought I wanted a TV show. I don't know if there's enough going on for a TV show, but I would watch the movie. I would watch a little 2 hour Netflix, Hulu movie. I don't know if I could sit through a TV show because it would have to be like a mini series, and the mini series would have to like be no more than 5 episodes, maybe 6, and it would have to do both books. And I would not want a season 2 because I don't think that I actually would. Like, yeah, I could do that. But I could. I wouldn't want a season 2 because I don't really care about Anna after this. Like when Anna ended the book, I said thank you. I don't know if I would actually want to keep reading from Anna, but I liked her in this nice little window. In this window where she had Vronsky, and then when she didn't have Vronsky, and the way that she had to readjust. I swear, when I was reading the first little letter from Vronsky, I said, "Okay, we're really going there. We're getting emotional." But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to see anything more. I don't care about anything that happens after. I don't care about her like becoming an adult or going to college and like actually living her life. I will say that I do wish that she had died at the end. The first time I read it, I was just happy to have read it. The second time, I definitely wanted like when the gunman showed up, I was kind of like, you know what? I kind of wish that the K-pop stalker person just shot her, just got her right there. Um, just get her. Just you know what? I love you, Anna, but I don't. You can go be a Vronsky now, kind of a thing. You know, like I don't think I needed her to survive, and I did think that it was. I don't want to say it was silly of her to survive, but it was silly. Like homegirl, love you. I don't know if I love you that much because I don't care about ever coming back to her. I would be like, yeah, like that was a nice little chapter, and then she died, and then she died. Um, me and Anna Karenina, I don't think Anna Karenina is ever getting read. I don't think I can do it. I think I'm gonna own it forever, and it's gonna sit on my shelves forever. And I'm a little bit okay with that. Excuse me. Like I'm okay with not having read it, I think. Although I do think if someone was gonna kill off Anna, it would be the Russian. I do think I do think that Leo would give me a dead Anna, but I don't know if I'm that invested in like an adult Anna dying. I think I only want Anna to die because she is so young. It would be like a little tragic. She's like just getting started in her life. But I also don't think that her going to Korea was actually like a good storyline, like where she's just gonna go finish her high school experience in a foreign country and she was just back home for the summer. It was weird. It was a very weird. The book ended in a very odd place, I think, personally, for me. For what I like in a book, I don't think that Anna K. Away ended in a place that I was personally a fan of. Definitely. Again, if she wasn't gonna die, I would not have done this weird Lolly storyline. I wouldn't have even introduced the K-pop stalker. Didn't care about the little boy band, the Now Nows. I didn't care about them and like their little. I just, it just felt. I don't want to say it felt very random, but it was like she was making peace with like her mom, and then she was doing this, that, and the other. But then she was gonna go to school in Korea, and I was like, "Well, girl, you're about to be like you're just gonna finish your cool." It just, it didn't. I didn't care. Like not boycotting. Look, I don't listen to it. Okay. Sometimes little Blackpink comes on the shuffle. We have a good time. And it's not even that I hated the Now Nows, but I was like, when she was helping the Now Nows in Korea, I liked it. And when she needed to like find replacement entertainment, I appreciated that they brought back the Now Nows. But I did not care about that man trying to get with his girlfriend at all. Like again, like there was just I feel like there were just as many storylines in Anna K, but they felt more related to one another. And in Anna K Away, they felt so disparate because she had separated the entire cast from one another. At least when they were in New York, it felt very insular. But here, every character had like this whole little side storyline going on with a whole different cast of characters. And the book is like 300 pages. So I was like, Jenny, what are we doing? Like, I don't think that it was poorly handled, but I was also like, you're like, I don't care about some of these people. Like, I just don't. Like, there's not space for me to care. And then even when there was space for me to care, they were so like everybody was in their own little cubicle that it didn't matter. It was just kind of like, okay, you have a storyline, you're doing your thing, you have feelings and emotions, but you're never going to interact with anybody else. So how invested do I care? It definitely was. It definitely because they were all at least in the same place. Even when they went out to, like, Connecticut for the weekend or whatever, they were still there. But none of the characters were in the same time zone as one another because you had Anna Kay in South Korea, and then you had Lolly in, like, Southern California in this weird internship that didn't make any sense, being hounded by her ex-French lover, and then you had Lolly and her little sister were kind of in New York for a second, but then Lolly went to Michigan, and then her little sister was having like this weird plot line where her and her boyfriend were gonna like have sex for the first time, which was very uncomfortable because she was like 16 and that was a whole grown man who was like a grown man. So I was like, y'all don't need to do that. Like, you don't need to actually, you could not do that, maybe. Like, just let's just not say you did, kind of a thing. So all these characters were in these very different places and they had nothing to do with one another. And very few of them were talking to each other. So it was just kind of like, I don't like you're related and I like me a good cast and all of you have something a little bit messy going on. But again, for me, the bridge too far was Lolly and her little country bumpkin summer camp lover. I said, this is foolish. Like, and it wasn't even that it was foolish in the sense that it was unrealistic. Like, do I think you can go to summer camp and meet your little country lover boy from the middle of nowhere? Sure. I think that's very much a possibility for people. I think it happens to people. Did I care about it? No, because I barely care about Lolly and her actual boyfriend. I care very little about Anna's brother and Lolly being an item and them being together and him being so annoyed and so hurt that she would like cheat on him. So I would have much rather gotten more of Beatrice in that time. I would have what I really wanted from this book, I think, is more of Beatrice and Anna. And I think that the time spent giving Lolly page time, I would have preferred getting Beatrice and Anna together for longer. I think that's what I would have preferred. I think that would have been a more interesting use of pages. I think that it would have been more satisfying to read. And even if they did not, yeah, like even if they still did not walk out of that interaction in a good place, I think that would have been far more enjoyable to read about than Lolly at her little summer camp. Didn't care about that at all. I was like, girl, like she was just sad. It was very pitiful. It was very it was not giving what I think it was supposed to be giving. So I was just like, we could not do this and say we did it and give me more Beatrice period. But also just more of Beatrice and Anna. I also would have actually liked what I when Anna was on that little train and Vronsky's brother showed up and was trying to kiss her. I said, this is foolishness. This is some tomfoolery. But I would have preferred to actually get a nice extended look at Vronsky's memorial. I did not like how we had that extended scene in Rome and then they were going to the memorial and then the memorial was over. And I was just like, really? I kind of want to see it. And I know that we flashed back to it a couple of times, so we kind of got to like experience it. But I said, this man died. Like, that was the big, I didn't see that coming moment. I would like to actually get to, like, I felt I did not get to process everything I needed to process this time or the first time I read it because we just jumped straight past his funeral for no clear reason that I could determine personally. Maybe y'all felt different. Feel free to chime off in the comments. But for me, definitely would have preferred more Beatrice and Anna. Would have loved to see the memorial. Would have loved to get rid of Lolly's storyline. Would have loved to get rid of the storyline where Kitty was trying to lose her virginity to a grown man. Weirdness. Exactly. And like I know that Anna grieves the entire book, but I also feel like the book made it very clear that she's just gonna go get with Vronsky's brother and like everything's gonna be okay. And she has his little cologne now, and it's weird. Um, but maybe that's just me. Maybe other people feel that the book implies something different, and other people had a different takeaway. Maybe that's true. I also would have liked to see Anna's dad more. He was in the story a fair bit, as was her grandmother. But I was like, if you're just gonna go to Korea for this like family bonding, I would like to see it. And instead, we had her with the television producer and the now man. And I said, where's the family bonding? Like, it's bad enough she didn't get to be with her brother. So I was like, at least I'll get, father daughter time. Would have liked some more father daughter time. Again, I think I just would have liked more time than we got because this book is absurdly short. This book should at least be, it's not even 300 pages. I think at least 50 more pages. I think that if there wasn't going to be as long as, if this book was going to be shorter, it shouldn't have been made. It should just have been part of the first book for me. I think that I would have just retooled some of the storylines, gotten rid of some of the storylines, and had just a longer first book if this book was going to be less than 300 pages. Now, I guess that would also mean that the first book in the series would have been, like 600 or so pages. But I think that we could have made it work. I think we could have made it work. I think we could have retooled, reimagined some things to do this because this book I think that if we, I guess to include it in the Anna Kay away and Anna Kay to make it into one book, you would just get rid of all of the side storylines. So you would lose Beatrice and T's story, which I think I would also be okay with if it was just one book. I think the fact that it got a sequel allowed for us to follow Beatrice and T. Mm, it's perfect. But, like, we could have made this one story. Like, again, like, I don't know if this book needs to be like, I don't think this needs to be a duology. Still enjoyed it, still gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I think that we could eliminate the T and Beatrice storyline as it was constructed. We could have given, Vronsky's letters to her in the first book as was, do a little moment after he gets hit by that train. We could even still skip the funeral if we're still trying to, save pages. And we could have just gone from where he gets hit and we just get to follow. It'd be a much more Anna-centric storyline. Um, but I think that it would have played out better. Especially because I did think it was a little hard to believe that, like, Anna was ruined by this random sex tape that was going around that was clearly child pornography. So that was also a weird storyline that I don't think I actually needed. Don't think I actually needed that element because that was really what was, propelling her out of New York. I think we could have also eliminated that. I don't know. I'm clearly not a writer, but something about this, it just leaves something to be desired. Like, I personally loved it. I think it's well written. I think that I had a good time. But I do think that if it was going to exist, I needed something longer, especially going around charging people almost $20. That feels like a lot of money for something that is it's much closer to a novella length, I think. I mean, 296 pages is the acknowledgement. So the book ends on page 294, so it's almost 300 pages. So I get it, but also it just, of the storylines I cared about, is probably closer to 200. I'm gonna be generous and say that the Lolly storyline got 100 pages. It probably didn't, but with the elements that I would edit out, it would be close to 200 pages. So we could have just tacked we could have pasted them two stories together, got us one book. You could charge a little bit more. You could still charge $20 for it, but maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe I'm in the minority. I mean, I don't think I am though, because somebody definitely gave it 3 stars. We had a 3-star in the chat. We had a 3-star in the chat. So clearly we could eliminate stuff in this book. Clearly we could add some stuff to the book, I think it's possible. And while I appreciate the little gut punch that you get from reading Anna K. I think that when you read the end of Anna K and you jump straight into Anna K Away, there doesn't seem to ever be a sense of closure that I personally was looking for. So I think that we could have I take it back. I mean, clearly by the end of the book, when you get to Anna's letter to Vronsky, that I think that's supposed to be the closery moment. But the closure I was looking for at the beginning of the book, the little bits of healing I was looking for along the way. Um, I don't know, because I also don't really feel that Anna changed all that much. And like I don't know if you need to change as a character, but if you're gonna give me a series and you're gonna give me the love of her life, allegedly, at 17, dying for her, and her blaming herself for his death, I would imagine there would be some character change. Yeah, it's missing something. Like something in Anna K. Away just is not there that so it doesn't fully click, but it clicks enough for me to still give it 5 stars. I think that um because I guess you saw her change in the first book from being like, the quiet person to a person that was with Vronsky, but I don't think there was another change. I think that after losing Vronsky, there should have been more development there, and she just kind of kept going to keep going, which is fine, but I wanted something more. Like, we got to see Beatrice change and evolve, but that was it. And I guess you could try and say that Lolly was doing something. That would require me to care about Lolly, and we've established very clearly that I don't. So I think that Anna was the only character in the book that we didn't even Steven got to, like, do something more, and so I wish that Anna was also afforded that same, uh, possibility, that same thing. Like, I wish she too could have grown more than we got to see her in this particular installment. But that's just me. I think I would read another book by Anna K. Wow. I would not read another Anna K book. If there's a third Anna K book, I would not rush out. But I would read another book by Jenny Lee because I do like her writing style. I don't think that it helped that I was reading Anna K. Away around the same time that I was reading Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan. Because I definitely think that Kevin Kwan and Miss Jenny Lee have a very similar thing going on. The only thing that Jenny Lee is missing is some fucking footnotes. She started writing some footnotes into her books. They would be, I wouldn't say identical because they're still not quite identical, but I think comparisons would be there. Luckily, I don't think Flatiron is like looking to put I don't think they're looking to put footnotes in the book. Although maybe that's what I would have wanted. Maybe because if you're not because I really like the way that Kevin Kwan uses footnotes in his contemporary. And I think that this book could have used them in a similar way to elevate things. Maybe. So we're going to eliminate the Lolly storyline and add footnotes. And I think that we've just fixed the entire book. If it has to be a separate standalone, I think those two things, I think those two things right there would have done it. Fonda's interest. I think my issue here is that I did not read either of Jenny's books physically. I listened to the audiobooks for both installments, and I read the Greenbone Saga physically. So for me, and I listened to Kevin Kwan's book also. Lydia Look is his usual narrator these days. So I don't know. Maybe I am stuck in the genre blinding me a little bit, but I definitely can see it a little. Maybe I don't know. I'm not as I don't say comfortable doesn't seem like the right word. I don't think that would be the first comparison that jumps to mind. I think just because I feel that because I'm pretty sure Jenny Lee worked. Maybe she didn't. Like, I'm not reading these little middle grade books that she has written. I thought that she had worked um in magazine writing, but it does not appear that that is the case. But maybe I wouldn't make that comparison. I don't say that I see the comparison, but I'm happy others do. It's a nice comparison. I would like to write if I was gonna write like somebody, I'd want to write like Fonda Lee. I think that her books were easy to get through. I couldn't put well when I read the Greenbone Saga the first time, I read it in like a week. Those first two books, so oh yes, it's very detached. It's very like I think that's why my mind immediately goes to Kevin Kwan because he's also very detached. We're very hovering over the story, which is why I'm like, if we just threw some footnotes in, it's like the same person. They're little different. I think that Kevin Kwan pays much more close attention to the aesthetics of his book and like making the wealth and the depictions like more gratuitous than Jenny Lee did. It's very here the wealth is very understated, but we're still like gratuitous. His is like over the top gratuity. So for me, I'm very much used to like this detached. We're looking over. I also think that Mary H.K. Choi is a little bit at least I think Permanent Record is the more emotionally removed. Even I think Penny's perspective in Emergency Contact is a little bit more emotionally removed, and then Sam's perspective is very much he is much more in touch, much more engaged with with what's going on with him. So maybe I'm just making shit up. Maybe I'm just making things up. I don't know. I do think that I have run out of things to say, but I will wrap this up in like the next 3 minutes or so, in case. Um, sure. I don't feel a sense of nostalgia. Well, I guess maybe I would say Emergency Contact and I think the parts of Yoke that are set in Texas feel a little bit nostalgic. You can kind of well, maybe I'm just saying that because those are the books that feature Texas, and that's where she grew up after leaving Hong Kong. So I'm like, of course, those are. Mm, again, I think like maybe like the elements of the book that are in Texas. I think that the way that she sometimes you know what? I will say sentimental. I would agree with this. I don't know if I would say nostalgic, but I do see the sentimentality of it. I do see that part because you can definitely see the things that she cares about and how she describes them. I would agree. I would agree with that. So maybe it's not as detached, but Kevin Kwan is definitely detached, and so I'm his stuff is not YA though. Although I do think it's appropriate. Maybe. Maybe I don't remember. It's been a minute since I read the Crazy Rich Asians trilogy. Before I do go though, want to remind everybody that the February pick is Final Revival of Opal and Nev. This one's also pretty short. It's under 350 pages. It's not. It's 358 pages, but it's a very quick read. Hopefully, y'all will be here. I am tentatively scheduling the Opal and Nev discussion for the 5th of March, which is a Saturday, probably also at 2 p.m. Central. I will get around to making that graphic and scheduling that live sometime today or tomorrow, whenever I happen to get around to it. But it will be up well in advance. Perfect. You forgot the Feb book, but you just checked out the Opal and Nev audio. I think it was Monet said really good things about Opal and Nev on audio. I don't know if it's a full cast. I think she said it was. I don't remember. I'm just going to read it physically. I am also excited to reread. I will be vlogging this read. I'm doing daily vlogs starting tomorrow, so I do plan on discussing this over the course of the next week. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to seeing you guys. But with that, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for reading Anna K. Away. I'm happy that there seemed to be, again, mostly positive. The lowest I saw was a 3-star. I know, but it's Blackathon. It's the Blackathon. So I'm reading some Black books. We're going to daily vlog. I'm going to see y'all every morning. Unless, I decide that I'm not the daily vlogger. But, tomorrow there will be a vlog. But with that, I'm going to go. Thanks for reading. Looking forward to reading Opal and Nev with all of you. Hopefully this is another winner for a lot of you. But I will see you guys tomorrow morning with a vlog. But until then, till next time. Bye.